Well, good morning, everyone. This is Natalie Weinstein with The Home Show. Kay Sine and I are going to be chatting about the difference of living in a home of your own, a rental apartment, or a condo. Just give us a little bit of the background of some of the topics that you address and how you go about answering the questions.
Well, I cover the differences, as we've already mentioned, between a condominium and single residences. I discuss the declaration and the bylaws and the rules and what information is found in each of them and where it's found in each of them. I talk about money, the budgets, the assessments. I talk about who you can go to professionally to help you make the best decision. I also talk about what documents need to be reviewed before you buy and who should review them. And then, of course, this checklist is quite extensive. And this checklist on my website is in a format that they can print out, 8.5 by 11, and take with them as they're visiting.
That's a great idea, because then they don't have to, they're not walking in with a book, but at least they have the key questions to ask and maybe even make the call before they go down, because if they don't like the answers, they may not want to get involved with this particular association or community living situation. Maybe the one down the road, which they may have to pay a little bit more for the property, might be more advantageous to them because they have other amenities or other freedoms or other situations that are more to their liking in the way they would want to live.
Correct. Now, the checklist, as I said, is available to download. It is being sold as an e-book.
Mm-hmm. So that they can just download it right from the website. Very cool. Very cool. Okay, and so let's continue a little bit more with what else they're going to see here. They're going to see information about pets and parking and maintenance and meetings and all the stuff that you deal with, correct?
Correct.
And how the questions that they are going to be asked are ones and questions that you feel that potential homeowners should be asking before they sign on the dotted line.
Correct.
So that makes a whole lot of sense. And also, I want to talk a little bit for a moment about involvement in expectations and involvement in community boards such as this. What should people expect if they're going to take on the responsibility for you, for example, now as a condo manager? They probably didn't leave you alone day and night. And while they say that there's availability, there's just a degree in which you don't want to be that involved with your neighbors. I think people have to think about that if they want to serve on the board.
Correct. Unless there's a management company.
Mm-hmm.
If there's a management company, they will be the buffer. They will take the calls.
Mm-hmm. But if they have to do it themselves, it could become a sticky wicket.
Yeah, it's a very big commitment. Mm-hmm. And I actually had one board president have her tires slashed.
Oh, my goodness.
By an owner who was angry over something a rule that he violated, and he was penalized for it. Well,
it is community living at its worst.
Right.
You don't have to worry about infringements on you and your property from the outside. Now you got it from people within.
Mm-hmm.
That's a shame.
I also have several chapters in the book, pretty much 4 or 5 chapters at the end, which is after the buyer's checklist, that deal especially with people already living in an association. I talk about meetings, the different kinds of meetings, what they're for, the associations and owners' responsibilities and rights. Why should you have a management company? What do they do? Those kinds of things, which really pertain more to you're already living there.
Mm-hmm. Well, once you get in, if you get past the first part of it, you certainly want to be able to live there happily and see what changes the board is making, but then also be able to figure out ways to effectuate change yourself if you feel that there's something that is not right about what's happening. And I guess if you're willing to get up and take a stand or even run for one of the positions and you become a board member, then you have the ability to actually create the change.
Correct. And it's a wonderful way to protect your investment.
Yes. So people need to feel that they can step up to the plate. And, of course, those who have more time, I'm sure, would consider it more readily than those who are working full-time. And I think you have to weigh the pros and cons of getting involved.
Right.
Before you actually do anything.
To a lesser degree by getting on a committee.
Mm-hmm. That's a good idea, so that you don't have the full responsibility. You don't have to be a board member to be a committee person or a committee attendee of those committee meetings. The biggest one and the most fun one, of course, in our condo is the social committee.
Sure.
Because they do all these fun events, most of which I can't really go to because they're during the day, but they do have some seasonal events. They have events with kids and without kids. They have a gala once a year, which is very nice. And so they try to promote socialization. They also tried to set up a singles group and a young mothers group, things where there are people of like and common interests can meet one another, depending on the size of the community. Ours is 194 units. So it's not a large community, but it's not small either. It's, I guess, I don't know, what is that considered in your terminology?
Probably medium.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And now we are not alone. We have many condominiums in the surrounding areas. Some run differently, some over 55, and with other amenities. But I'm sure that everyone who moves in did not know the things that they needed to know to help them to realize what life is going to be like in the future.
That's correct. And they can have a wonderful, wonderful experience and be extremely happy if they just do their homework. So many times people see what a condo, they fall in love with it, and they say, oh, everything's going to be just fine, and they just buy it. And then something happens that they become aware of that they didn't take the time to find out ahead of time, and they're miserable.
It's not a good feeling to put yourself in a position where you don't have any power or control over your existence and your environment in a community like that. And I guess what Kay is absolutely correct about is saying that if you do your homework, you will be able to make the right assessment for you and for your family, because if you're not happy, your family's not going to be either.